Welcome to the second episodes of Two Birds, One Stone, an Arizona Cardinal podcast. I'm your host at Red Sea Trent, joined with my brother Garrett. Garrett, how does it feel to be Super Bowl favorites after week one?
Wow! It feels great, brother. It feels fucking great.
Going into Tennessee and kicking the absolute dog shit out of a team that's gone to the playoffs back-to-back seasons.
Feels
literally
good.
could not have wrote it any better. Like from
Feels
start
good.
to finish, just kicking the balls right away. Just
Hell yeah.
went right at them. So Kyler played fantastic. We'll start with the offensive side of the ball. Kyler went 21 to 32 with 289 yards and then 4 touchdowns, another one on the ground. So 5 total touchdowns. I think he's the first Cardinal quarterback to throw for 4 and then rush for another since Charlie Johnson back in 1960 something. So it's been quite a long time. Yeah,
it's awesome. It's absolutely awesome. And then it's also good to note that he jumped second in the MVP odds. He went from plus 2,500 to plus 900, only behind Patrick Mahomes, which is crazy.
I would say that if you were going to bet Kyler for MVP, you might be a tad late. I think you jumped the value odds. Who knows? You could be getting a steal. Maybe next week he throws for another 5, and then it jumps up from there. But yeah, he started off before week 1. You could have got him at plus 2,500, which means you bet $100, you win 2,500. Yeah, I think that's what it is. So it went from 2,500 to plus 900, and that's only behind Mahomes, who's at plus 550. Yeah. So fucking incredible. There were so many plays in this game where it just looked like he could do whatever he wanted. Like the line looked great. He could run around back there forever and have time to hit guys like Kirk and Hopkins.
Dude, the one to D-Hop, whenever he did the back to the left and spun around back to the right and was on the run and fucking threw it straight a dot right to him and D-Hop in the toe tap. I almost creamed. I'm serious.
It was literally one of those where it's like the catch was great, but it was as good of a throw.
It was like the most impressive thing. Yeah, it was the most impressive thing I've ever seen. Probably him do almost maybe, but it was sick.
I mean, you could argue it might have been his most well put together game of his career yet.
I agree.
He's put up more yards passing and more rushing yards, but
I don't want to be Debbie Downer, but the one pick he did throw was bad. You still see the year 3 how he's still so young. It could have been an easy throwaway. He was just trying to make something out of nothing, which I get. But you still see a glimpse of him being a third-year quarterback. But like you said, it's the best game he's had of his career. So
all that was just Kyler proving to us that he's not God. That was the only thing that. Other than that game, he looked like the second coming of Jesus Christ. So then receiving the ball, we had Hop with 6 catches for 83 yards. The 2 scores, the one you mentioned. The second one was arguably a better play by Hopkins. He catches the ball going across the field and then spins back the other way. Just so good, awareness.
It's crazy to because he's not crazy quick. He's not physical. It's just. It always shocks me how he's so goddamn good. I don't know if it's just because he's so
similar like that.
I feel like they just have such good feel of the game, and I don't know. They just have such good awareness in the way he moves his body. It makes it look like I can go out there and catch balls. Makes it look so easy. But yeah.
Then on top of that, Kirk with 5 catches for 70 yards and another 2 scores. So the first one that he caught, or that Willie Mays catch over the back. That was another throw by Kyler. That was
almost more impressive than the throw on the run, circling that way. Literally, he's running, he's back, he's stepping back, throwing the ball almost off his back foot, leaning back, and it's
it was a fadeaway. It was a damn fadeaway.
That was crazy.
If you look at the replay, both of his feet are off the ground when he lets go of that ball.
That's crazy. I don't know.
Jumping both feet off the ground.
Maybe Mahomes can throw that ball. Mahomes
maybe
and maybe
2 or 3 guys.
Maybe Rodgers.
With that arm.
Not at this point, probably, but yeah, I agree.
That was fucking just play after play looked like Madden out there, and then Rondon Moore also on offense, explosive every single touch. A lot of his catches. Well, he caught the one where Kyler ran back and forth. Yeah, another step back, and then he hits Moore for 25 yards or so. But a couple screen plays there where it's when you have Kirk in that spot last year and Fitzgerald, God love him, He's not the quickest guy anymore. Now you got Rondale Moore there, who it seems like every time, just the burst that he has every time he touches the ball between that and then the return game, he also had a few good returns. So
I feel like this is also seeing how Rondale played yesterday, which also Zaven as well, which we're going to touch on, shows how important it is to have a camp. Like he had 5 targets and he caught 4 of the 5 balls. And I just feel like that connection with him and Kyler's built so early. I just feel like it's going to only build up and keep on progressing and getting more targets, more yards from here.
Like I said, that scrambling play is the biggest testament to that, because a lot of players, I mean, Rondale's never played with a quarterback like Kyler, obviously, at Purdue. But, like, knowing that even though Kyler's ran all the way to the other side of the hash marks on the other side of the field, keep moving around because he's going to make a play. And I'm sure Rondale's seen that in practice to be like, be aware your head's got to be on the swivel. You got to keep moving somewhere. Run game was pretty well too. Chase in his first game is kind of really being the lead guy. Actually didn't even have the most carries. Chase ended up with 12 carries for 63 yards. That's 6 yards a carry, 6.3. Connor ended up with 16 for 53, which doesn't jump out at you. There was some fucking mean stiff arms, some great breaking tackles, just kind of some bad luck, ended up at the wrong spot, but he looked pretty fresh.
He still has it. I mean, I absolutely, I know he's not the James Conner, the All-Pro. Was he All-Pro or
Pro Bowl his rookie year?
But I mean, he's going to be. Those two look like a great complement to each other. I mean, whenever you need some ground and pound yards, Connor, he definitely can still ground and pound and get you 2 yards whenever you need it. So that's good to have in our back pocket.
Yeah. What I loved a lot about the offense, we talked about this last week, and kind of like what we want to see from Kyler this year is, I talked about how I want to see him I don't want to see him have over 100 yards a game. I don't want to see him have to carry that load. Not that it's not entertaining, not that he's not great at it, but less on his body and less on like just all the weight on him. So with Chase and James Conner being just average to above average in that game, Kyler carried the ball 5 times for 20 yards. It wasn't, he had the touchdown run, so we still utilized it in the red zone, but it wasn't something like he went out and he won that game with his arm and making time in the pocket. He didn't have.
I feel like it's also it's important for him. It's important for the Cardinals and Kingsbury to always keep that a thing, like always keep it existent. You don't ever just want to completely dismiss it, because in a spot like whenever you're in the red zone, like Kyler can score.
He's the best red zone ball carrier in the NFL.
There's nobody better. And especially whenever you add his arm and then you add on D-Hop and everything else with it. I just think it would not be a good idea to shy away from completely eliminating him running the ball.
But in that situation, we're up by so much too. And I think you mentioned before we started a lot. I think he probably had 30 yards taken away from him on penalties off that first couple drives, which we'll get to. But so it might end up with more, but you're up by a lot in the game, a lot of conservative. Why risk it? So I think we'll get to it. But Cliff, there was a few times in this game, we're going to stick with him off the side of the ball, where I think it was the end is in the fourth quarter. We get the ball back. It's 38-13. We're kicking the shit out of them, and they're not going to come back. But it was one of those drives where there's 8 minutes left. We get the ball deep in our own side, and we take 6 minutes off the clock, just running the ball down their throat. They know the run's coming, but we keep moving the chains and keep moving the chains. There's no points on that drive, but just one of those things that, that was a blowout, but it's good to know that we have the capabilities of doing that in close games.
That's something we've never been able to, we've never seen with Cliff ever. He's never had that constant good run game like we had on Sunday. So it's exciting. It's exciting to have that compliment. I think it's going to do well in our future, do well for us.
Yeah. And it's kind of incredible that we've gone this far and we haven't talked about Chandler fucking Jones. 5 sacks, ties the franchise record.
Pay the man, baby. Come on.
Pay the man. Pay the man, absolutely. Ties franchise record with Hassan Reddick, who did it last year and against the Giants, week 14. From the fucking jump, Taylor Lewan stood no chance. He shit his pants every time he dropped back in protection. See that tweet that he sent out after? Like, it's okay. I have something to say about that. Okay. All the comments are, Good for you, Taylor Wan. Way to own up to your mistakes.
Respect, brother. Hell yeah.
You look like a fucking bitch.
Literally,
That's
he got
embarrassing.
He got thrown around like a toddler. Like, Jesus. Like, okay, keep that in the locker room. Say that to your teammates, maybe, but don't
absolutely.
Who is that gonna help on Twitter? Like, oh, your fans? Oh, your fans really like, oh, hey, sorry, fans, I got my ass kicked. Hey, fucking go work out or something instead of tweeting that you got your ass kicked.
If I'm a Titans fan, I'm not going, well, you know what? That makes me feel better. At least
hey man,
you.
Respect, Taylor.
I just
fuck that. That's the dumbest shit ever. Yeah.
Yeah. And we'll get into the defense now, but like I was talking to another Cardinal fan earlier on, and it's like, remember like 2015, how like it was almost as fun to watch the defense as it was the offense. You had so many playmakers back there that they just stifled offenses, and it's like it felt good. It's like you can't move the ball even if you fucking try. It's not gonna happen. Which that's also, what it felt like.
Yeah, I said this while we were watching the game, which because me and him watched together. If you don't know, that at this point it's kind of cool to have an offense as well that you don't have to really worry about. You know what I mean? Like in years past, it's always been worried about the offense putting up points. I'm not saying that it's a guaranteed lock that every week we're going to be this lights out and put up 38, but it's almost to the point, like you just said, where you just look forward to watching the defense just because all the new faces and all the rookies and stuff like that. But yeah,
I don't even know if that's much of a hot take. I mean, because all the talent that's over there, you've got like fucking stars, JJ Watt, Chandler Jones, Buda Baker, Byron played like an all-pro on, we'll get to that. Isaiah had almost 10 tackles, had the pick. Like there's some big names, and then younger guys like Zabin and some of those off our defensive linemen, Likai Fotu, like they made plays all fucking day. It's like after this like first few minutes in the second quarter, you knew it was over because it was like an energy so good. Yeah.
It was like a different energy that I haven't really seen in a lot of years. It was just like okay, Derrick Henry, you're the king, so self-proclaimed king.
Yes.
Here's fucking how many yards did he have?
Yeah, in the first half, I wrote this down because he had 8 carries for 9 yards in the first half.
Hey, King Henry. Hey man, fuck you. You're not doing shit to us. We haven't had that attitude in like forever. We're like, it just felt like nobody could fuck with us. Julio couldn't do shit. No one could do shit. It was awesome. I haven't felt that in a while.
I wrote down a few notes about Henry. It was, like I said, the 8 carries for 9 yards. But for the whole game, he was under 60 yards. And then, but even with that, at one point in the fourth quarter, he had 3 carries in a row that went for 30 yards total. So
he got on
most of those
most
of those came on 3 carries. And then that sequence at the goal line. So the Titans finally get something going. They drive down the field. Our defense helps them out with the penalty or two. They're at our 1 yard line. First down, Henry stuffed. JJ Watt comes from all the way the opposite side of the line and gets him in the backfield. Second down, he's stuffed again. And then even third down, first of all, you're stuffing Derrick Henry on the 1 yard line 2 plays in a row. Tip your goddamn cap. There's not many defensive fronts that are going to have that happen to him one time, let alone do it 2 straight plays. So then the third down play, even it's a play action pass and it's covered well. The play design is covered. It's like the Cardinals read it well, but Tannehill makes a good play, makes a play with his feet and gets into the end zone. So you look at that, they put up 6 points actually because they mixed an extra point, but give up 6 points. But they did everything that they needed to do. They played. It was just a good sequence of plays.
I've never seen Henry stopped on the goal line at the 1 yard line. I've never seen that happen before. So
it was one of those things when they got down there, it was like, okay, you give it to Henry. Well, they're down 17-0 at that point. You give it to him 4 straight plays, and you have to. That's what you do. Yeah. And then when I saw the play action, I was like, oh, they're not going to score. They're going to have to kick a field goal. But it turns out Tannehill made something happen. But no harm, no fucking foul. So 17-6 after that point. But we talked about Byron Murphy. Holy hell. That first half, it seemed like he was exclusively on Julio and play after play. And it wasn't like overthrows by Tannehill or drop. He was getting his hands on the ball.
Fucking good ass DB play. What I've written down for Byron Murphy is he is badass because he is fucking badass. Like I haven't seen cornerback play like that on the Cardinals since
Ryan P2.
2015 Patrick Peterson, 2016 Patrick Peterson.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was it's something to be exciting about, because like we said last week about how we were at like a 5 out of 10 panic wise on the corner situation. I think I just got lessened to about a 3 or a 2.
I'm going to stay at 4, strictly because the pass rush was so great that they didn't get a huge test. Yeah. Like Tannehill had like an average of 3 seconds back there, which is fucking incredible that we were able to get to him so quick. I was telling you while we were watching the game, I was shocked at like when like Tannehill didn't have any straight like 6, 7, 8 step dropbacks. It was always play action or somewhere, like they never just spread it out, which I get, like with the amount of pressure that we're applying, maybe you don't want to risk it, but if we know that the weakness is a secondary, the Titans should know that our secondary is a weakness. Like they didn't even try and just spread it out, empty backfield, test the corners, and they didn't. When they were tested, they played well, but
it was an interesting strategy, bold strategy, Cotton. You know, like why not go? I don't get it.
It was weird. Well, I mean, if we want to talk a little Titans, this is their first game without Arthur Smith, their former offensive coordinator in a couple of years, who did well for them. Didn't do so hot yesterday in his first head coaching gig with the Falcons. Got their ass kicked by the Eagles, but this is the Cardinals podcast, so fuck all that. But like we said, Julio held for 3 catches, 29 yards, and then A.J. Brown 4 catches, 49 yards, and the 1 touchdown. So, I mean, as much shit as they were getting about the back end, they sure as fuck held up. That's for sure. Like, I don't think you could ask for much more from
with the Titans' leading receiver being Chester Rogers with 4 receptions and 62 yards. Do you know
add him to your fantasy teams, guys? Get him on the waiver wire. I promise you he's available. I 100% promise you he's out there. Chester Rogers, huh?
Hell yeah!
That's not a name that we heard when we said we're going to get torched by the Titans. Nobody brought up old Chester Rogers. So more on the defensive side of the ball. I mentioned JJ earlier. He looked fresh too.
Good.
They talked about limiting his snaps a little bit, but it didn't seem like he got limited much. He was out there for a lot of the game, and he made some good plays. I don't know his final stat line, but it just seemed like he was in the backfield repeatedly.
And I think something to bring up too with Chandler's game is, I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, but that we it's should not forget about JJ's presence and how big of a difference that makes for the other side of the ball. Because you have to, I didn't really pay attention to the double teams and stuff on him, but you have to think if you have JJ Watt on the other side of the ball, that's going to open up a lot of opportunities for Chandler. So yes, Chandler had an amazing 5 sack, 2 forced fumble game, but you cannot forget about JJ Watt and probably what he did for that. You know what I mean? He
was great. And then along the D line, Corey Peters also played really well. Yeah. He scooped that first Chandler Jones forced fumble up, almost had a touchdown, had the big man dance that everybody loves. He was in the backfield almost all game too. He played great. Lekai Fotu played pretty well.
Just the whole D line as a like the biggest satisfaction I got out of almost all defense was the depth of the defensive line and how you're just able to switch in and out, and everybody played well, and it was just really refreshing and nice to see that we can keep constant pressure without people getting tired and have backups that are going to be effective.
Yeah, it was awesome. We mentioned Isaiah earlier, but I meant, like, in the last podcast, I was like, it basically came right into fruition. Like, the defense, if defense go make plays and win games. Like, I want to see more of that this year than just like, hey, Kyler, go out and win it for us. I want to see the defense do it. Kyler did his fucking thing regardless, but the defense, like, they forced turnovers. Isaiah was huge in that. Like, he had 9 tackles. He did have the interception, which I don't know if you saw that. Buddha got absolutely smoked. Like, the ball gets tipped and it's up in the air, and Isaiah and goes up to get it. Buddha's on his back, like, he just put him on his ass. You know, Buddha's got to be pissed because everybody, the long thing on Buddha is his interception number. So he's like, God damn it, you stole that one from me. But we had turnovers. Thanks. Yeah.
I just think I feel like that's what we're going to get from Isaiah. You know, he's just going to be a playmaking SOB, whether it's picks as we saw last year, even a little bit. And then obviously week 1 this year, he gets the pick again. I feel like that's to be expected from Isaiah. And then also I feel like Zaven looked good. He didn't look like a rookie. Yeah. I feel like he was really prepared, which also can go back to me adding in the training camp and stuff. I feel like that makes a big difference for rookies, and it showed with Zaven.
Yeah. Hell, I mean, when he was on the field, he looked good. But as we talked about kind of last podcast, Jordan Hicks played a lot.
Yeah,
like Jordan Hicks, I think, was one of the highest percentage of snaps on the defense side of the ball. So it's interesting. It seemed like all the talk was that Zaven's going to come in and he's going to be the signal caller on the defense. And by no means did he play bad when he got in the game. It was just maybe they're kind of slow playing him a little bit like they did with Isaiah. I don't think it'll be as slow as it was for Isaiah. You're going to get him in the game, but Hicks played a lot and he played well. There was no spot where I was like, damn, if Zaven was in the game there, then he would have made that play. Like, so Hicks played a good game.
They all 3 started, right?
Isaiah,
Simmons, and Hicks all started.
I think certain. on like the picture, it showed that Zavens and Simmons were the starters, but like from the first snap of the game, Hicks was in a middle linebacker. So I'm not sure. I don't know what it was on the official depth chart, but so almost nothing bad you could say about the game, but we're going to nitpick a little bit. Obviously, that first drive kind of sucked. It seemed like every time we took a step forward, we took 2 back, which we were able to wipe away at the end because it didn't end up mattering in the least. But I know you wanted to talk about that's kind of a trend from the last couple of years.
It's gonna matter whenever you're not playing the Titans, who have a shit D and can't get nothing going, and we're up. Whenever you start to play, I mean, teams that are putting up a lot more of a fight, you can't have penalties like that. It's the same situation as we were in last year. It killed us, and I hope Kyler was able to mask those mistakes this year this week, sorry. But I just hope it gets figured out. It's just stuff that's inexcusable, like false starts, holds, just miscues.
Too many holds. That's for sure.
Just can't have. And then another thing that I wasn't happy about, if I'm going to nitpick, I don't think AJ Green played very well. He had a couple penalties himself. Two receptions for 25 yards, which I wasn't expecting 100-yard ball game, but I was expecting a little bit more, which I could just be him not being involved in the offense as much with him being new.
I think it was a lot of just when you look at those kind of stat lines, maybe that's just how the game kind of flowed. Yeah. I mean, they're not going to force feed AJ Green, but I mean, I think you'll definitely see bigger things going into next week and forward from there. Sometimes the ball just doesn't find you, and that's just the way it goes. But
and then the other thing I had was, sweet Andy didn't even touch the field. All you Andy lovers, he didn't touch the field once.
I didn't even think about Andy Isabella. Like, I think it was probably about the second half, and it's showing watching the game, and they pan to the sideline, and I see 17 standing there. I was like, holy shit, Andy Isabella's still on the roster. I kind of forgot about that.
At this point,
I don't remember seeing him on the field.
Do you feel bad from it? Like, is there a part of you? I don't know. I feel like if he was doing the right shit, he'd be on the field. You know what I mean? Yeah. I just feel like there's something that he's doing that's not right. But then again, why would they keep him? And I don't know. Yeah. That's kind of frustrating. But that's kind of all I had. It was a clean game. It was not clean. It was not clean. It was a great game. Good week 1 win. But like I said, we just need to clean up the penalties bad, or else.
I think they did. I think they did in the second half a little bit. I think a lot of that was that first drive was like just a punch in the face. Like, it was like, God damn, again. Like, are we going to go through this? Thank God we didn't have to put up with that. And I think this was probably one of the best ones we've had in 2 to 3 years. Like, you go onto the road and a team you don't see very often, you're not very familiar with, 2 straight playoff appearances. This team, I mean, the Titans are one of those sneaky Super Bowl picks going into the season, and they just laid the fucking whooping on them from the very get-go. So it's fun to hear. I told one of our buddies, the best feeling after a big win like that is we don't have to worry about anything for the next 6 days of no negativity. It's like holy shit. We get to hear about all the talk shows just talking about how good Kyler Murray is and how good the Cardinals are. The same guys that talk about how the air raid will never work are now saying, oh, is Kyler a sneaky MVP candidate? So it's nice to not have to deal with any Cliff hate or any Cardinal hate this week.
I agree.
For the time being.
Time being.
That is a perfect segue to next week. So for the time being, also, things are great.
Also, it's probably good to mention that our record prediction still holds true. Correct?
Our record prediction is perfect.
It still holds true. We're perfect, baby. Hey, and you can't refute that. You can't refute that. We're perfect right now.
I'd also be remiss if I didn't bring up the fact. Remember the bets I mentioned at the end of last episode?
Yes.
Bam, 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 bam. Perfect. Bucks game, hit every bet. Cardinals game, hit every bet. So if you aren't just doing exactly what I tell you at this point, I did get your shit together. You know, I'm giving you free money.
Listen, folks, if you want to make some cash, follow our bets.
I won't have any at the end of this episode, but I'll tweet some clips out. I'll take a video or whatever, and I'll give them. It's a little too early. Who knows? Injuries can happen, but I'll send some picks out later on this week. For the Vikings game, Peterson comes home. Does he get booed?
If I was there, I'd boo him.
You think so?
I would boo him.
I'm so back and forth.
I wouldn't if this all the events that happened this offseason wouldn't have happened. Sure. Clap him up, whatever. But yeah, no, absolutely not. He literally sat there and called the front office a joke, essentially. No, it's a boo for me, at least.
I'm on the tipping point of both sides. I'm on the ledge, and I lean this way towards booing, and I lean this way towards he's arguably a top 3 defensive player in team history. So it's like you want to show him respect his first time back, but goddamn, you make it so hard. Like why? Yeah. I don't know. I guess he's never said anything about the fans, but it's like we're kind of linked here. Like you can't just you're not on the team anymore. I don't want to hear you just talk shit about the front office constantly. But what are the odds? What are the odds he's following D-Hop all game?
A fucking none. His pussy has to stay on one side the whole game. He used to not.
I mean, years ago, that was always my argument when it was like Patrick Peterson versus Richard Sherman, who's the better. I was like, Sherman stays on one side of the field. Patrick will follow Julio, all these the best receivers in the game all over the field. I don't know if he does that on Sunday.
Oh, absolutely not. He's not stupid. He knows what would happen. He's not stupid. He would get his fucking ass torched. No, he definitely won't follow him. What I kind of have on that game, which you talked about earlier, is for me, it's kind of just like a repeat of week 1. You have the 2 star wide receivers in Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen. And then you have a top 5 running back in Dalvin Cook. I'd say the only one of the bigger differences is the Vikings defense is a little better. And their offensive line, I'd say, is probably comparable. Would you agree?
Comparable. Yeah.
And then Kirk Cousins and Ryan Tannehill are kind of the same style quarterback. For me, it's kind of a repeat of week 1 in ways.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah, I thought those were all good points. Coming back home, though, too, home opener. Yeah. The Vikings are coming off a loss to Cincinnati, who I think you picked Cincinnati to beat the Vikings straight up. I like that pick a lot. I think I couldn't tell if I didn't get to watch a lot of that game, but I don't know if it's the Bengals are a lot better this year or holy fuck, the Vikings are not.
Just imagine how shitty it would be to be a Vikings fan. You know, Kirk Cousins isn't going to take you to the Super Bowl.
And he's not going anywhere.
No, they paid him so much goddamn money. He can't go anywhere. And you're literally just stuck. There's no change. You know, nothing's going to change for at least how many years are left on his deal? 3?
Probably 2 or 3, I would say.
But there's no change coming. It would just be a terrible feeling. But I feel pretty confident going into week 2 again, just because the Bengals beat them, and the Bengals. I mean, which I will say, I bet on them. I watched the game. The Bengals played well. My prediction is going to be a lot more the same you saw in week 1 and week 2.
I think it'll be similar to like things that we can like kind of capitalize on are probably pretty similar. Like, I mean, Kyler's going to do his thing either way. I don't think their quarterback play is anything near like the top of the league. I'm sure there's things we can take advantage of there, but like you said, it is a pretty similar kind of like matchup, but time will tell. 2-0
Okay,
coming.
I have a surprise for you that I didn't talk to you about before the show.
Okay, what's the surprise?
I want you to guess the spread on we're recording this on Monday night. I want you to guess the spread on the Baltimore versus the Raiders game.
I would probably say 3.5.
It's correct. Are you sure you didn't know?
Not a bang, not a boo. I saw the line when it was at 4, so I figured it might have went down.
So no, folks, don't give him that one. That was cheap.
I mean, you don't think that I would? Hey, you don't think I've looked at it already? The game's like I might have checked.
He's on a heater. He's on a heater. He's hot. He's hot.
So yeah, great fucking start for week 1. Cardinals couldn't have played a better game. Coming back home week 2, get the Vikings already on 1. Let's keep this shit rolling. I don't want to hear any talk about a trap game. You can't have a trap game in the opening game, your first home game. Fans are going to be rocking. There's going to be the first full nest in State Farm Stadium for the first time in a couple of years. So looking forward to that. Thanks for tuning in. We'll probably release this Wednesday or Tuesday probably. Garrett, do you have anything you wanted to throw in before we sign off?
Roll on, baby.
Roll on. 1-0. So far, we're perfect in our record prediction. One step closer to 17-0. Go Birds, everybody. Have a good one.
See ya.